There's nothing extraordinary about this family, except when you come to think of it, all families are extraordinary in the complex ways they arrange their affairs in order to survive. Last week's episode of our saga about this extended family and its modern variations was curiously about the traditional family setup. This week, we talked to Tricia, who represents the kind of family currently under attack. She has a child but no partner. She is a single parent, though she much dislikes this title. Then we move on to Mark, Joe's son, and Jill, his wife, close friends of Tricia, who also encounter prejudice, because with 2 young children, they both go out to work full-time. But now back to our family get-together. They're saying that it's inadequate for one person to bring up a child, aren't they? This is the inference of it all, which I think is amazingly stupid.
The thing is that I think it's much harder for single parents to cope, to be mother and father, without in fact having, if you're the mother who's a single parent, you have at least to make sure that you have a lot of males there, even if they're not necessarily connected with you, not lovers necessarily, but males either in the family or close to the family, where the child has a chance to get some sort of relationship with the man.
What I think is really annoying at the moment, or must be for you, I want to know your feelings about it, is the political attack from all sides that you're getting about being a single parent.
I think it's totally unnecessary, iniquitous actually. It's based on nothing but just ridiculous bias. They don't seem to know anything about what's really going on, what it really means to be a single parent. And the more attacks you get, the harder it is to do that job properly, because the more people are thinking, well, she's a single parent, and it makes it much harder, and I think in the long run it's going to affect the children as well. Well, because it's hard to give them that normal background.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, there seems to be, even at the moment, the idea that, single parent isn't quite right, perhaps lone parent. I mean, what do you think about the titling of your situation, for one thing?
I don't think it's necessary to label it. Parent it's the job.
That's right.
Which is what we're doing. Single parent puts a label on, obviously, so people can see that you're on your own. But lone parent, it's actually ostracising. The use of the word lone. They're trying to separate you from society.
Yeah, but have you felt that anyway? Have you always felt a bit of that pressure that you are being marked out and isolated?
Not at first. I had a lot of support from my family, and I think, quite honestly, I was too busy getting on with the job to worry about that.
I mean, when you first decided to have your baby on your own, did you keep it hidden from everybody? Because, I mean, this is often the case, isn't it?
Yes.
It is.
Yes, mainly because I needed to make that decision. I realised that was the biggest decision I'd ever have to make in my life, and I had to make it on my own. And I felt the less people knew, the easier that would be. And I did feel that perhaps I would have her adopted at that point, so I wanted to limit the amount of people who are involved, just to limit the pain and the hurt.
Did you ever think that you might have an abortion? Was that one of your alternatives?
I think I would have considered it, but I found out that I was pregnant too late for it to be an option.
Right. But, I mean, did you ever feel that there is social pressure not to be a single parent, that you are this manipulative woman who wants all she can get?
It wasn't there. I didn't feel it. As I say, I was thinking of having her adopted, and the adoption worker and the social services are actually more concerned with keeping the child with the parents or the parent, rather than having it adopted. If if they feel that is the best, that the child is with its parent, rather than being with adoptive parents. So they actually, very subtly, they don't actually exert pressure, but they were trying to make sure that the child does stay with its own family, whatever family that is.
But what do you feel about the sort of bombardment then? And I was going to say from left, right and centre, but really it's from right.
From right.
I mean, the bombardment seems to be so... It's being linked with everything. I mean, it's being said that your child is going to suffer educationally, that your child's going to be deprived emotionally.
It's ludicrous. If you can't bring a child up properly, then you can't do it, whether you're married or single. Whatever situation you have, either you can or you can't. I personally feel I have very high standards for my child and expect her to meet them. And mostly she does. She's 5, so sometimes she slips. But I have high standards. I'm a single parent. I'm not neglecting her. She's not. I mean, she's just started school. So far, she's doing extremely well. She's a very sociable, confident child. I think it speaks for itself. And I know other single parents with perfectly normal, well-adjusted children. I don't think, if you walked into a class of children, you could not look at the children and say, that one's from a single parent, that one's parents are divorced. It's put on the situation afterwards.
Well, I think if, say, for instance, you're a neurotic mother with a husband, you're still a neurotic mother, aren't you? That's the point, really, isn't it? Yes. Yeah. Well, let's go and find Lily, because it'd be nice to have a chat with her as well. Where is she, anyway? She's playing somewhere,
I can hear her somewhere.
Yeah, she is. Lily!
Lily?
And have you just gone to school? Pauline, sort of kind of if question, but if you had a choice of being a single parent when you were XXXX years ago, or now, like Trish, which would you choose?
In no way would I choose to be a single parent today, because I think we have gone 50 years back with regard to any support that we give to single parents, any opportunities for them to be able to be mother and father, to have some of the practical support. In the days when I was a single parent, I was in fact working for the National Council for the Unmarried Mother and her Child. And you know, there's nothing like a little bit of self-interest to make you work harder for the people that you're working for.
Because you were one of them.
Because I was one of them. And I knew that they needed two things: the practical support first and the emotional support second. Because the practical support, starting with a home of your own, is really the whole basis of helping single mothers. Because it gives them security, it makes them feel independent, and eventually it helps for you to build up the resources to give yourself emotional support.
Would you think that's right?
Yes, very much. I think if you have the practical support of, as Pauline said, your own home, of the dignity that that brings, then you can find the energy to deal with the other problems. And that you can find more emotional resources within yourself.
Say I'm just playing devil's advocate for a second, but you can't always, even the country can't always find support, can it? Financial support. So do you think that there is a breakdown in community life that doesn't give you as much support as you want?
To an extent, yes. But, I mean, I'm in a lucky position in that I get a lot of support from my parents. And I have, as I'm not working now, I have been able to build up that community with friends I've met through the school, through Lily's friends, through playgroups. I think if you're working, you don't have that chance to build up that network. It's not automatically there anymore. You actually have to work harder to find it, which I think is a difficulty, obviously.
When you were, in fact, a single parent, could you have borne it? I mean, it was difficult enough anyway, but could you have borne it if it hadn't worked?
No, I definitely needed to work. I mean, I rationalised it by saying, well, I had to work because there wasn't any other salary coming in. But in fact, I was much more fulfilled working, and I needed in a way, to have the distance from the total domesticity in order to be a good mother. And I think perhaps I wasn't a good mother, but a good enough mother, which isn't quite the same thing, is it?
It's perfectly good enough, though.
But it's good enough.
Yes, yes.
And that also relies on having a network
Oh,
of
yes.
friends,
Yes.
of relatives,
Absolutely.
Yes.
of
Nearby.
neighbours,
Also-
of
and it-
unworking mothers generally.
Yes, and
Absolutely.
it also
The working
means,
mothers to
Jill,
depend
that
on,
you...
working parent to depend on.
I only developed that network when I stopped working. From my own mother's point of view, she said that she wouldn't feel so happy about looking after my daughter as often as she does if she wasn't such an easy child to look after. She doesn't find her any bother. But if she was difficult, she just wouldn't put herself forward so much.
You haven't got the
Although-
energy as you get older either,
Yeah.
not quite.
And I don't expect that she should have to. It's the way society is putting it on that the grandparents ought to be looking after the grandchildren. Well, there's no reason. They've done their share. They've brought their children up.